Hi, I'm Mauricio Schiller and you're listening to The Schillering Hub, a podcast gathering hospitality professionals from around the world to talk about what hospitality is and what it isn't, and their lives, the innovations, and the ideas that set some businesses apart and others not. We also talk about the future, the trends, and recently we embarked on a journey to search for happiness in hospitality. What makes hospitality a happy place? What are the hurdles that block happiness from happening? And what can we do to overcome them? I invite you to be part of this journey. Comment and send us a message of how our conversation impacts your day. Ask me a question or tell me a guest you'd like to listen to. We make this for you, so I hope you enjoy it. Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another episode of the Schillering Hub podcast. We are talking hospitality, and today I have a different setup. I have two guests, and I'll make a little introduction to you. We have Vladka Vlaskova, who has an incredible career in hospitality. She worked for the Prague Marathon, the Four Seasons, as well the Four Seasons Hotel in Sydney, Australia. And it was in Australia that she took a turn on her career, becoming a life coach certified by the LCI Australia. Today, she uses all her skills and experience helping individuals and professionals like us to learn, understand, and master emotional intelligence. And along with Vladka, I have here, once again, thank you very much, Nadia Tien, a hospitality enthusiast, former GM, the Mosaic House Prague, Fusion Hotel Prague, which was the coolest hotel in Europe under his spell. Europe or in the world, Nadia?
Europe.
Also, the Moods Boutique, Icon Hotel, the list goes on. Please just connect with Nadia on LinkedIn and see all his amazing journey through hospitality. But today, Nadia is a consultant for Jan Hospitality in the Czech capital, Prague. And thank you very much, you both, for being with me today. The agenda of our podcast today will cover the fundamentals of emotional intelligence and parallels with hospitality and hospitality leadership. Is all part of our search for happiness in hospitality. So thank you very much, you both, for being part, accepting this invitation, and taking this journey with me to learn a little bit more of human emotions and hopefully bring a little bit of joy to our people in the industry. Today, I will start with Vladka. And Vladka, let's talk about what is emotional intelligence, please.
Well, that's a big question. It's a big topic, so I can talk really many hours about it. So I'll try to simplify it and get to the core of the topic. And also, I mean, when we say emotions, that people get kind of scared, I would say. And I would like to define first that also the difference between IQ and EQ. So IQ we all have as well, and it's measurable, and we use it, and it's very important. But what EQ stands for, it's also emotional quotient, and it goes along this IQ. And both are complementary, and they really need to be next to each other. It's not or either. It's you must really have a certain baseline of IQ to understand what EQ is, what it can do for you, and how you can develop it. And the simplest definition, I would say, is being smarter with your feeling, or in other way, that it's the ability to use the emotions effectively. And I would also say to the longer definition that it's the ability that we recognize our emotions, we understand them, and we are able to manage them and not only our own emotions, but as well as the emotions of others. And that's very important in life. It's a life skill. And I would also say it's like having a smart guy for dealing with feeling. And it's something what we born with. We are born with emotional intelligence, but it doesn't mean that we know how to use it. It's a skill which needs to be developed, and it's like a muscle. And everything what we want to be good at, we need to practice every day. That's how I would describe it to make it more understandable.
Yes, and you say now like that we are born with it and we need to practice like as a muscle. But would you say that some people are more linked to have more sensitive the emotional intelligence than others? Or is something that is basically we are born and we develop and that's how it is?
We are born with it and it depends how is it developed. And so it starts at every age. And everyone who has small children, then that's the best start to really practice with them, to talk about their emotions, because if you look at the small child, it's a very natural way of expressing it. And then throughout the life, it doesn't go away. We still have them, but of course we are getting older, then we are pushing it away. But when we learn from the early age to name it, because the child doesn't know what's happening, they feel it, so they express it. And that's where it starts to just recognize that's what's happening to you, that's what you feel in this situation. And it's a very good start and practice of recognizing and naming emotion.
That's super interesting. Like when we think like of emotional intelligence and how it develops, and we as leaders, I would say we are like parents basically, right? So why is that important that emotional intelligence should be developed for leaders in general?
Well, those emotions never go away, and we have them still as leaders. And especially in leadership, we need to manage basically stress. We need to resolve conflicts. We need to motivate, and especially in hospitality, which is very fast-paced industry. Then we are dealing in a, I would say, those conditions for dealing with emotions is very specific. Especially, I think the great example is front desk, where you are in front of the customer, the immediate contact with guests. And you need to manage that very something you need to manage, because you have your own feelings and the guests have, of course, the feeling. And because you are the professional and you are there providing the service. And that's where it starts one of the skills, because when you are solving something or even welcoming the guest, or something goes wrong with the reservation and you have to deal with that, then also you are reading how the guest is feeling. And you are basically reacting to his feelings and want to make him satisfied and happy. And that's where it comes in, because things can go, of course, wrong. And the whole point is to deal with that. I manage also the conflict, but the feelings of the guests, and as well at the same time is reflecting me. So I need to be aware of my emotions, that I'm not expressing my feelings on the guest.
Sorry to interrupt. If you're enjoying this show and if you are learning something new today, please consider following the show, subscribe to our channel, or leave us a review. It helps us to help more people through the podcast, and it would mean the world to us. Thank you for listening, and we're back on the chat. Sorry to interrupt. If you're enjoying this show and if you are learning something new today, please consider following the show, subscribe to our channel, or leave us a review. It helps us to help more people through the podcast, and it would mean the world to us. Thank you for listening, and we're back on the chat. I'll use that connection now that you said to get to Nadia to ask, because Nadia in our previous podcast used a very good example of how he tried to manage that feelings with the people that are facing the guests. So Nadia, for you, how does the emotional intelligence really affect the people in hospitality by your experience?
I realized that emotional part of me, I put very much into my business. And when I finally had the opportunity to build my own first hotel, I was scratching my head and I said, how am I going to do it differently so that I actually step out of the gray zone of all these millions of hotels that are in Prague, and I can do something different. And Vladka and me, we actually met a few days ago and we had a discussion already. And until I met Vladka, I did not realize really what I did, completely different. And the first thing that I did is that I put a lot of emotions in the product that I built. Yeah, because people want to sleep well, people want to eat well, people want to have happy people around them that spoil them rotten. In Czech you say rozmazlovat. And that was one part which I implemented. But at the same time, I also wanted the people that work with me to feel at ease. So hiring the people, and it's actually interesting because we did a webinar the last time and I was talking about falling in love with the people basically that I interview. And of course, it's a big emotion. It's not a romantic love, but I needed to have people around me that I really wanted to work with. So the emotional part in leadership goes from what you build, if you can put that with emotions, and then how you treat the people very emotionally as well. And I could do that because my properties were relatively small. If you have 700 people, I think it's a lot more difficult. But in small properties that I was able to open and manage, the emotional part was a big part of it, including, as you know, Mauricio, I put these tubes in my hotel where you actually have a ball and you could put the ball into the tube that I'm not feeling well today. Yeah. And to be happy all the time is also impossible. So to actually be able to not be happy was also part of the emotional, level we all need to be in balance. And I think that trying to put it all into a nutshell, if you take the emotions of everything that you do, then you can be successful. And the fact that the hotels were rated among the top on TripAdvisor, on Booking.com, after talking to Vladka, I realized it's only about emotions of what I've done. And so I think it's very, very important. If you become number one on TripAdvisor because of emotions, then you don't have to spend so much money on marketing because you are number one on TripAdvisor anyway.
I will just use this hook now and ask, because you said about happiness, right? And this is what we're trying to figure it out. And Vladka just said about how we need to be aware of your emotions when you're serving the guests, because there is probably may happen a conflict of emotions, or you need to dance that emotions between you two. But how does it can affect actually your feelings and your happiness at work when you are having to deal with a shield of emotions, trying to talk and translate the emotions of others that you can actually then make them feel great? And how does it affect the emotions of the person behind the desk and their happiness, their search for happiness?
When it comes to the question for me, sorry.
For you both.
That's exactly where it comes, as I call it, as I would say, the fundamental of emotional intelligence is the emotional self-awareness. First, we need to be aware of our own emotions because it's the first step to exploring and understanding ourselves. And when I understand it with myself, then I can understand it with the guest, and I can read it. How I would read the emotions of the guest if I would not be able to read my own emotion? So that's why I say it's really important for everyone, and also for our mental health and hygiene, mental hygiene and well-being, to understand my own feelings. And also when we are in the situation as we are in hospitality, it's really, as we all know, really fast-paced industry, and you are in that right moment, you've got the client just in front of you and you have to solve it now. It's not that you take time, you go away, you think about it, and then you come back. You have to solve it on the spot. And that's where it comes to training. And one thing which I teach people about emotions, because before I start even talking about the skills, I take time to explain what the role of emotion is in the body. It's data, it's a signal, it's telling us something, what we need to pay attention. Of course, you can't pay attention to your feelings when you are in front of a customer. But by training, you of course get stressed and you are tired, or, it's really a conflict. So you of course, although all your feelings starts to go on, but when you are aware of it, and only then you able to name it. And by naming, I mean just, I've got a feelings, I'm stressed at the moment, and I can breathe, or just take that recognition that something is going on in your body, then it already helps big time to release the energy. Because what happens when people are in the stress or in the meeting, which is very important in solving that conflict, as the stress is raising up, and you would be pushing your feelings aside, or you don't know what to do with them, then you are basically losing your concentration. Then all can go wrong, because you are taking so much energy on putting that emotions away, rather than, okay, I'm feeling it, I know what to do with it, and when I have time, I will just go and somehow release it. When I'm away, I can of course do it in front of the customer. So that's where that comes to that personal training and awareness of what's happening, and recognizing, okay, I'm stressed. Why I'm in stress? How can I work with that?
Very interesting. You have something you want to say before?
No, I'm listening to Vladka, and I'm thinking about what happened in my career and what I did, because I broke through quite a lot of barriers. If I would be able to build my own hotel, the first one that I did, I also did things that are absolutely not common in the hotel business. I wanted the people that work with me to be as much as possible themselves. Because if you need to be somebody else, or you need to act like a person that you are not, it is way more difficult to give real service and real hospitality to people. And I grew up in a very big American company, Disney, and I did the opening of Disneyland. And Disney is a first name company. So within the company, if you're GM or you're a waiter, everybody is called by the first name. But this is an internal thing. Guests, you don't do it. But when I opened up my first hotel, I introduced first name. Everybody was first name. I was not Mr. Chen, but I was Nadja. But I also decided to call every single guest by the first name. So this worked really, really well until one day, the German 65-year-old gentleman was greeted with, "Hello, Günther, welcome," by the receptionist. And then 5 minutes later, I was called as a general manager to please come. Why? And actually, the gentleman had never had a welcoming like that ever in his whole life in a hotel. And we became really good friends. So it didn't turn out negative. It actually turned out very positive. But I have to tell you that I was very stressed when called for the GM and wanted to speak to me. But it kind of created a whole environment of people that, okay, we make mistakes, but it's okay. And we openly talk to the guests. I'm sorry, we are just humans. We cannot do everything perfect. And that whole environment of de-escalating because we are just humans and we can do what we want, it created a very interesting atmosphere in the hotels. And I think that because you put a lot of thoughts in my head, Vladka, because all the emotions that are related to what we do, every day we are greeting hundreds, thousands of guests in our careers in the hotels. And of course, whenever a problem arises, we put the team together, we learn from it, and we move on to the next guest. But in general, all my hotels were very open-minded towards greeting and working with guests. And it is, of course, difficult with emotions, because if you don't understand what emotions are and you don't know what to do with those emotions, then you end up in a burnout, because it is something that is super difficult. And I in talking to both of you, I realized that in the past, because I went through a burnout and I did not know what to do with my emotions. In some cases, I did not even understand that my emotions needed to be taken care of. So I didn't take care of them until it was too late.
I'll get the hook there, because that's very strong. Yeah, because even you building that environment that is so open and so free of thoughts, still you got affected by the emotions that are created in the hospitality. So I want to ask Vladka, how can one develop emotional intelligence?
Again, I would say you need to start with yourself, and also, that's also, let's take when we say, how are you English? What your answer would be when I would ask you, how do you feel, would be very different. So starting also checking with yourself, which I say to all my clients, throughout the day. And if you start with just one pausing moment a day, it's great. Just stop yourself in whatever you do and ask yourself, how do you feel? How am I feeling right now? And that's where this whole process, and because then when you start doing, it's like really in every exercise, every sport you do, you need to train it. So it's difficult. And that's what most of us do, because, and especially, I would say, especially in a hotel, it's you push it away because you are in a rush. You have a lot to do. And as we are rushing, then we forget. So it needs to be first just starting with yourself. How do I feel? And being able to stop. And once we learn it may change so many things. Then, because you become that's again to what we mentioned before. It's coming back to the fundamental of everything, self-awareness. How much you are aware of yourself, and then you can be aware, of course, how you are affecting other people, because you also will be able to read other people's emotions when you are not recognizing them with yourself. No, but the person is getting angry, or just what that little smile means. It's just in that interaction, and we all know when we were solving something, a situation which was quite difficult, and as we are able to sense that person and to read also behind the words and manage that conversation, exchange everything. And what people tell you about what you did for them, they will always remember how you make them feel. And that's also what the whole industry is about. We are creating the feeling, but first you need to understand how you feel yourself.
Super interesting, and Vladka, what you're saying about learning by really labeling the emotions that you are having. Do you have any type of exercise that you normally tell people? Because labeling, I try to do, it's quite tough actually, for me at least, trying to label what I'm feeling. I think sometimes, and then sometimes I get a little bit more stressed because is there any way to learn quicker, like an exercise to try to understand the labeling of our feelings?
The good start is to write a diary, at least to, I can imagine there is no time, to stop throughout the day, especially, busy at work, to stop and write all feelings you have. I mean, you've got lots of feelings, and you don't also feel them as one. It's always like as a mixture of feelings. That's also what I teach people. I use the Black model, which is like, it's a palette which the painters use. And that's nicely show how the feelings are mixing as well. And you feel them, you can name it as they are at very high intense as well. That's the basic emotion. So I would recommend, and that's what I do with my clients, to start to take a diary, and at least just in the evening write down at least one feeling you had, or the whole situation, which we then can break down into your feeling, your thought, and your action, which then you can further work with that. I mean, if we then go further down on the way on developing our feelings, thoughts, and actions, that's all connected. So that's very first step. And if you are looking for the words, it's helping also that I can send, I have a vocabulary. We can use a vocabulary. You can use, I also have cue cards, which I develop, and I'm using that with clients as well. And it helps, sometimes you can find a picture and you can find a word, and you can express it with these both, because also how I'm reading that emotion, you can read it differently. We are reading the emotions different. So sometimes picture, how you felt, and you name it for yourself.
I think it's very important. Sorry, Mauricio. I think it's very important, Vlatka, that in a career, especially in hospitality, that there is some form of what you are consulting woven into the leadership, because a lot of people don't know what their emotions are, and they are not able to describe it, as you mentioned, or even to paint it, and those we're going to say little steps, but to start journaling and to start writing down how you feel and find the connections between feelings and stress levels and all that. I think that is a very good thing to be part of the whole curriculum of being a leader in hospitality, because you need to feel it from yourself, but you need to also see the red flags in the people that you work with. And I call it red flags, Vlatka, because I think I ignored my red flags a long time until it was too late. So only then somebody pointed the red flags out to me, and I can only now do something with it. So I think what you do is a very important thing in hospitality, to find out what the emotions are and learn how to deal with them. I interrupted you, Maurizio, please.
No, please. I was just saying that how interesting it was. And one thing, when you said, Vlatka, the importance of journaling and the time difficulty, one thing I have to say is the experiment I started last month, that I used GPT. I trained GPT on a journal. Yeah, I asked, do you know what a journal is? And then so can you structure how to journal? I don't know how to journal. And then the GPT taught me how to journal. Then I actually got the microphone and I just spoke my day according to what GPT said that I should do. And I just spoke to it, right? So I spoke for about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes about my day. And GPT turned that into that structure of the journaling. And the interesting part was that in the end, it makes a little reflection, a positive reflection on your day. But in the end of the month, you can ask to analyze that and say how my month went, what can I improve, and it helps you to see. I know it's really weird, but it's actually a great tool to go back. And when you don't have a lot of time to be writing a journal, I don't know what your opinion is on that, but I found very interesting as an exercise. I don't know how effective it is, but I found very interesting as an exercise. But I want to go back to Nadia, because before, Nadia, you're talking about your burnout, and this is something that happens in hospitality quite often. We keep hearing people that left the career because they just couldn't handle it anymore. Sometimes it's work and life balance. Sometimes it's just this emotional. But what could you tell our listeners that we are hospitality here? What could you tell about burning out, about identifying the signs that you just said that you kept letting it go until it was too late, and how it was for you, and how did you come out of it?
I think my career is very atypical, because opening up a hotel is one thing, opening up 12 of them is, I don't think many people do that. And you can imagine when you open up a hotel, it is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it is all the time. I have to say that I don't think that my burnout is related only to hospitality, because if you like what you do, some things are just not a bad thing. In my case, it was private, it is losing loved ones, it is many, many things. But I also realized, especially after COVID, that a lot of people become more open on this subject. And to talk about it, I think, is very important. I'm happy that we talk about it today, because the first thing is, don't keep things inside of yourself. You need to let things out. If you are overwhelmed with emotions, you need to do something with those emotions. Go for a long walk in nature, meditate, try to do something with all the things that bother you. In my case, I did not do it alone. When I really broke down, I was asked to make a list, and it really took me a week to make that list. And the list was, what are the things that really affect you? What are the things that you think, or I think, were the trigger points for all the emotions that I went through? And then one by one, try to change those things. So that was the process for me. I made the list, identified, in a way, my red flags, what I mentioned earlier. And then I try to take the red flags away. And that helped me a lot. But if I would have known a little bit more about the red flags and the emotions, maybe earlier on in my life or in my career, or having a coach that helped me, or even in leadership in the hotel, I think then I might have prevented some of the emotional bursts that I had. So in my case, it is making a list and doing the hard work, doing the change, because we're all creatures of habit. Some things it's very difficult to change, but I did it, and I feel way better now than I felt before, and I'm happy that I came out of it. Some people don't, so it is a tough subject.
Vladika, so just as Nadia said, and then thank you for opening up. Nadia's really, really brave to do such a thing, and you said about the steps you took. So, Vladika, from your side, what steps can the leadership take to make sure that they are keeping a mental health environment, a positive mental health environment for their teams? And maybe how can they learn to identify the red flags in others and support those teams, support the people that are working with them?
Well, I would say they need to first go through a training of what PG is. It's still taken as, for someone it can still be something like intangible or very, very topic, or, they think that it's a soft skill. And me and my colleague, Ricky Chai, about this as well, we say it's a hardware. It's really a hardware, which you need to learn about, need to learn how to use it, because it's your energy, it's your health, because we all have it off for to keep us alive. And there was the emotions were there from the very, very first beginning, and we are evolving as human beings. But that basic of how emotions protect us is still there. the brain hasn't changed. So I feel very important as to be part of it, how we function, why we are doing what we are doing, as a part of education and as a part of every training I would do with people who were with other people. That's the very first step for me. I mean, you can do it in many forms and put it through a different area. But that basic knowledge, which I also do for example, for people with serious illness. And I do it because my very good friend got seriously ill. And I'm not a doctor. And I'm not someone if I could have the magic and help her. But I was there. I worked with her talking about, I was coaching probably her through the very first stages of the disease. And, once the worst was behind her, she came and asked me to do this for other patients. And I said, why do you want me to do it for people? I'm not a doctor. It helped me so much in my way going through the disease that having the knowledge what we can do, and especially when you are seriously ill. I mean, what else you can imagine that emotions go on in your head, and that you really go to a basics of what emotions are, how the brain functions, and how are the techniques to work with that.
That's super good. So I'll even try to reverse that. So first, training. So our leadership, it's important, training, learning, understanding, because if we're working with people, we should understand our emotions, their emotions, so we can support, we can help each other when the time comes. And what else did you say after training? That needs to come in training, and then music, practice it, basically. Training and practicing. Look, thank you very much. Nadia, do you have anything more to add?
It's a very big topic, and it's a very, for me, very interesting topic. Exploring happiness at work or happiness in hospitality, emotional roller coasters that we all have in our lives. Because the more people I speak, the more open I am, the more I hear from other people as well that I am also going through something, or I went through something. And I think we all have that. Thank God that we are emotional, because otherwise we'll be robots. So, but if you are able to do something with it, especially in the hospitality industry, I think it's why the hospitality industry is so enormously interesting place to be. I mean, you need to like people. The dealing with as a general manager, for example, dealing with the colleagues that you work with, the guests that you see on a daily basis. If you work in a big hotel, you have thousands and thousands of interactions every day. And I'm thinking now what Batka said a little bit earlier, that if you meet people and you're able to read them, I sometimes feel that I read people way too much. And I make, a certain idea in my head of what people feel, and then try to make them feel good, because I think that is super important. And I don't know how I learned that, or if it's part of me, or I have no idea. But being in the hospitality industry, having those emotions, somehow it resulted in not doing one, not two, but even 3 hotels that made it to the top. And it's all related to emotions. So if there is a red line into what I did in my career, it is very much related to emotions. I love that word in Czech.
So we're coming to an end now of our chat, unfortunately, but thank you, Vlatka. Thank you for sharing all your expertise, your experience. Thank you, Nadia, for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your live experience. I hope that you that are listening today, you enjoyed that. We are going to this journey together into trying to find out a little bit more about happiness in hospitality, what it is happiness, how do we find them, what blocks it to happen. And Vladka and Nadia will stay with us. They will come back. They will chat with us in another time. So please come back, talk to us, listen, and let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you're enjoying this conversation, because we are doing for us all and for you too. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vladka. Thank you, Nadia. It was a pleasure to have you.
Have a nice
Thank you.
Bye.